Memoirs aren't about fame. They're about the resilient journeys of everyday people who choose to share their bold stories of power, trials, and triumphs with the world, to offer hope, to offer strength, to say you're not alone and you can get through this too. Sis, memoirs aren't overrated. And in this episode, I'm showing you 3 powerful reasons why your God story matters. If you've ever wondered if your life is worth writing about, this one is for you. Ready to write your first book and make an impact? Do you wish you could organize your book ideas without feeling overwhelmed and actually find the time to write and finish your book? Hey, I'm Donna Cherie, a book writing coach and author. Welcome to Book Writing Made Simple. Inside this podcast, I'll teach you how to get a clear vision for your book idea, get organized, keep it simple, and develop a writing plan so you can finally get your book out into the world. Grab a notebook and pen with your favorite cup of tea. Hey, welcome back to Book Writing Made Simple. I'm your host, Donna Cherie. Welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited that you decided to press play and to hear this message as we're talking about memoirs. Are they overrated? And the 3 reasons why your memoir will make an impact. So thank you so much for tuning in. And before we jump into today's episode, I want to share a quick review with you that I received from Emergency Management Mama, helping me create a game plan. I have a long-term dream to write a book and have been amazed by others who I know who have done this. Donna has great ideas and processes that I can now envision the steps to write my book. Thank you so much for leaving this review. Have you ever thought, who would even want to read my story? Or maybe you've convinced yourself that memoirs are only for celebrities or people with a big platform who have a huge following or who have been in the quote unquote game for a long time. And they're the ones who are the experts and have this wonderful, powerful message to share. But what if I told you that your memoir could be the most impactful book you ever write? Not because of the spotlight, but because of how it shines a light on God's goodness in your life. So today I'm unpacking 3 powerful reasons your memoir is more than a personal project. It's more than just this hobby or this long dream that you have, but how it can become a reality. And it's a kingdom assignment. That's right. You writing and finishing your memoir is a kingdom assignment, and you got to get it done. I used to wonder if my story, my own personal story, my journey was just too ordinary or too typical, or maybe even too statistical, too gruesome, too vile to share with others, or just overall too much. Just thinking my story was possibly too much for anyone to handle, for anyone to digest or read and receive the message that I had to share. But when I accepted my own story, my journey, it wasn't something that made me feel shameful or embarrassed about anymore. It gave me a sense of pride to know that I made it through some of the most difficult times throughout my life with the help in the hands of the Lord, with His power, with His grace, His mercy, His loving arms wrapped around me. That my God story, it gave me the audacity of faith to share it with others by putting it in a book and making it a memoir. And while I was in this process of writing my memoir, I began to have opportunities to share parts of my journey with others, whether that was online or in person. And I shared those things that I used to think that was too much or maybe too typical or too statistical of the trauma, the healing, the struggles, and the restoration of what God did for my life and in my life. And you know what the result of that was? I received so much support online and in my community, my local community. And it was so amazing to see at people who I may have called first strangers online who actually supported me more than the people in my family or who I knew, that I was telling that I was writing a book. People online were more excited. Organizations that I had the opportunity to share my memoir with was more excited. So this didn't happen because I went viral or I had a huge following, but because I was honest and I was transparent and bold enough to share my God story. And then other women reached out to me and said, "Wow, Donna, I can relate. I went through something similar." And that's when I realized this isn't about me. This is about who my story is meant to reach, how it's meant to make a kingdom impact. So, as I stated earlier, you writing your memoir is not just a personal project, it's a kingdom assignment, and someone needs it. So, let's dive into 3 reasons your memoir will make an impact. Number one, it honors your healing and transformation. So, what do I mean by that? Writing your memoir helps you to reflect on what God has brought you through. It reminds you, in case you might have forgot, those things that God has allowed you to come through and how you're still alive, how you're still here, how you are in your right mind, or whatever the result might have been of what He brought you through. It's a testimony in written form. Writing your memoir helps you to see how far God has brought you. And what a beautiful reminder, what a beautiful reflection that you can refer back to, knowing that God has transformed you and helped you in so many ways. And also, writing your memoir it's a spiritual milestone that documents your growth and healing. And you may be thinking, you may not be where you want to be right now, but I want to tell you this, your story shows that you're not where you used to be. And let's praise God for that. We're not where we used to be. And the reality is that someone needs to see that healing is possible, that if God did it for you, that He can do it for them. And your story will be the proof, the evidence, God's walking evidence of what He has done. And that hope that someone needs to see that healing is possible. It's a testament to God's faithfulness and His goodness over your life. And that's one of the ways in which your memoir will make an impact. And today, sis, we live in a different kind of world, in my opinion, than when I was growing up. I grew up in the 80s, so I'm an 80s baby. And of course, like the world has changed and it's evolved so much. And it's so far away from God, and there's so many people who are dealing with all kinds of things for a variety of reasons. And there are people out there who want hope, who need hope. They need hope like the air that we breathe. And your memoir can be that impact and that hope that they need to help them rise up, to dream again, to live again, to help them heal. So I want you to think on that, and that your memoir, it honors your healing and your transformation and reminds you of what God has brought you through, and it gives somebody else the hope that healing is possible for them. All right, the second reason your memoir will make an impact is that it helps someone else start their journey. So your journey may unlock someone else's breakthrough. Have you ever thought about that? I think and I'm not saying that you who are listening, that you are this way, but because of, society and different things of pressure, like we tend to focus a lot on ourselves. And some of us can be selfish and just so self-absorbed that we forget about encouraging someone else or helping someone else receive a breakthrough. And how wonderful and how beautiful is it to know that by you writing your memoir, the impact that it can have is that it can help set someone else free, that it can be the key to unlock someone else who is going through something that you've already overcome. You've overcome something someone else is just stepping into. I want you to stop and think about that for a moment and listen to what I just said. You've overcome something someone else is just stepping into. And they really need your help. They need your book. They need your memoir, your story to see them through. There is someone out there who needs to know that they're not alone, and your book can do that for them. Your memoir will be the lifeline for someone navigating that same pain that you walk through, those same challenges and hurdles that you walk through so that they can receive their breakthrough. And people relate more to real than to perfect. So they're not looking for something that is superficial. They're not looking for this perfect book or this quote unquote well polished academic book, but it's your vulnerability of sharing your story that can really lead to someone else's victory. Your raw moments, the things that you've walked through, sis, become someone else's roadmap. And hear me when I say this, your testimony could be the confirmation they've been praying for. Your testimony could be the confirmation they've been praying for. All right. And I will leave that at that. And I do want you to reflect on that as well, that your testimony could be the confirmation they've been praying for, but you could be holding them up. And that's another episode, but you could be holding them up because you haven't finished writing your memoir, or you're in a place where you don't feel quote unquote comfortable enough to share your story. And God wants to help you get over that. He wants you to break out of that. And because somebody else really needs your story. All right. And then the third reason your memoir will make an impact is because it leaves a legacy that points back to God. So a memoir is a form of legacy writing. And I would say, of course, if you have a published book, period, that is a form of legacy writing as well. And with a memoir, it doesn't just tell what happened, it tells how God moved, how he showed up in your life, what he did for you, what revelations he gave to you, how he showed you what to do when you may have been struggling with that teenager and you desire to write a parenting book, sharing your experiences and how you was able to overcome and what breakthroughs that you had. It tells how God moved. And the cool thing is that memoirs live on. Someone will be going through that experience 10 years from now, whether if you're way past it, like if you're not even there anymore going through that situation, someone else is currently, and someone else might be going through that 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So your memoir will live on, and it can still make an impact, have that legacy, lasting impact. Even well after we're gone, the impact still continues. That is an amazing thing, and that is another thing that inspired me to write my book as well, is I just realized, like, this will leave a legacy. My book will outlive me. It will outlive my children's children. It will go on and be a lasting impact that somebody can always come back to, grab, pick up, read, be inspired, and receive hope. And that is just so powerful. And that's also a part of that kingdom assignment and that kingdom mission. And when we think about stories, and if you read the Bible, I hope that you do, but the Bible is full of personal stories, or even if we were to call them mini memoirs. Think about Paul, who talked about many challenges that he went through. He talked about many of his experiences and what he learned throughout his journey with God, and even his conversion, what that looked like. That's like a mini memoir in the Bible. And with the Bible, it's a book that we can always refer back to. We can pick it up multiple times of the day, every day. We go to it to get encouragement. We go to it to get sound wisdom and direction, or whatever else we might need We go to it as a resource. And that's the great thing about your memoir as well. It points people back to God and even as a resource to draw people toward God. And that's a beautiful thing. And just think, your memoir can be someone's source of inspiration, their source of encouragement and wisdom who might be in that current situation that you've already got out of. And memoirs aren't just books. They are blueprints to help someone else travel through life, to get over their hurdles, to get through their storms and see the clouds, the sun through the clouds again, and to be able to get up and be restored. In a memoir, when it's written with intention, it will leave that lasting legacy for your children, for your community, and for those you may never meet, that you will never, ever meet. I'm not going to cry. I feel like I might cry because this is so near and dear to my heart in the power of a memoir. But it will be there for the people that you will never meet, that you will never see. And what an amazing thing, all while pointing back to the author and the finisher of your faith. So those are the 3 reasons, sis, that you should write your memoir. And if you've already started, why you should finish and how it will make an impact, a radical impact, and how it is a kingdom assignment. And if you've been sitting on this, I want you to stop. I want you to stop sitting on this. Stop sitting on writing your memoir and really get started and go forth and overcome. And also, I want to say this, the first impact your memoir will ever make will be on you. It will be on you because, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to change you, and it honors your healing and transformation and shows what God has done in your life. And I believe it even does a deeper healing once you do write your memoir, and it just shows that journey of progression that God has brought you through. If this episode stirred something in you, that if I've hit something, if I hit a nudge, if this resonates with you and you're ready to start writing your memoir, I definitely want you to get started, and I want you to invite you to join the Book Writing Made Simple Writers community. Inside this community, you'll find the support and encouragement that you need from like-minded Christian writers. You'll get the tools to get organized and create a clear plan, and also get that accountability and encouragement that you need to keep moving forward, to be productive, to move by faith and with action. You need that accountability, sis. So come on over and join us at donnasherie.com/community. I can't wait to see you inside. I pray that this episode has blessed you today. And until next time, ciao. Thanks for tuning in. I hope today's episode inspired you to take that next step to write your book. Remember, small steps lead to big results. If this podcast has blessed you in some way, be sure to leave a written review on Apple Podcasts. Your support means the world to me, and it helps others to find the show. Also, be sure to pass on the inspiration by sharing this episode with a friend who could benefit from this message. God bless you, sis, and never, ever give up.